It is 5 degrees warmer out there than it is up here.
Oh, stop. Well, up here, yeah, because we're in a nice air-conditioned building. No, it's good. It's good. Really, our first day today, to me, really kicks off training camp. School's over, finals are over. We're out of the farm. We have some installations. They're done. Installations are becoming a little bit smaller. So it's really the kickoff of training camp today. And, so the mindset's got to change for everybody a little bit, getting into a little bit of they got to grind. But, we're taking steps in the positive direction.
What is that? You're talking about training camp starts today. How is this different exactly?
First off, there's no school. So, you're not having to planning around school. You can just worry about football, which I think that's huge, for the guys. Recovery time, meeting time, installation time, rest time, everything. So, to me, that's really the biggest part of it is that there's no school. So for the next, 12 more days, there's no more classes. So we have 12 days that we really can just concentrate on football and understanding the game and becoming better football players and a better football team.
How have you seen them handle the installs when you started off today?
Not bad. Obviously everybody's so different. Some good, some bad. But, I like to see our older guys. I haven't seen with older guys, blank looks on their face. Even the younger guys, I think there's understanding of what's going on, carry over from the spring, which majority, even a lot of our newcomers were here in the spring, so I think there's a little bit understanding for them has made it better, so it's not just kind of guys that are just clueless looking around out there on the field.
Saw Tucker Day getting some work in. What's your early impressions on him and how he's handling SEC football?
I think he's, we asked him, I know he's an All-American punter. Coming out of high school, we've asked him to really focus on place kicking right now for this year, and I think he's bought into that and taken a very unselfish team-first approach and has worked really hard place kicking, and it's probably slowed it down his punting development. That's okay, for the team, he's out there working for the team to try to compete and win the job to be our starting place kicker.
Seen Corey Charles on both sides of the ball so far. Where do you kind of see him fitting?
Who knows? We'll see. He's back to playing some defense now, so he'll see if he can compete there.
What have you seen? Obviously, he was one of those freshmen that got to get here in January, but Austin Williams, kind of your first impressions of Austin?
Well, I think he's a guy that's, obviously getting here in January is a huge advantage because he knows what he's doing out there on the field. And so he's able to go get viable reps. And, I think that is such a big advantage for him. He's a guy trying to take advantage of him, learn the speed of the game, learn technique and fundamentals, and but he's a smart player and has a great work ethic. So you'll see him continually improve as he learns the game.
How have Reese and Darrell Williams adapted to their new roles or more enhanced roles?
Reese and Darrell, good. They're getting there. Darrell was playing some center and guard in the past, so he's okay. Stewart, moving out the tackle, spent most of the spring out there too. So he's getting it. You're looking like today when most of our team reps think you have two freshmen playing your two tackle positions, so they're going to have to grow up in a hurry, and which I guess in the future is pretty good, but for right now, we got to accelerate them and get them prepared, ready to play.
Obviously, he's in a different frame this training camp with Martinez Rankin compared to the first two, but what have you seen from Martinez as far as going back to left tackle and just being one of the older guys up there?
Well, I think, he's done a good job when he gets out there at left tackle, understands the sense of urgency. He's got 6 months, less than 6 months really in the program right now, left here, so that sense of urgency to go perform at a high level, not just here or there, and there's no more, hey, you're a guy that's got great potential. We got to see that, and he's got to perform at a very, very high level for us.
Where do some of those guys behind Harris have to improve to develop some depth at that running back spot?
Well, they just got to, D. Lee's healthy, so there's a lot of depth there now because he's been injured. He was injured most of last season. But behind that, it's really the knowledge, do you know what you're doing? Not can you run the ball, do you know what you're doing? And so that's going to be the biggest one, so who can figure that out the fastest.
Defensive coaches have talked a lot about Jonathan Abrams' football IQ and how steady he is and the leader he is. You've seen those same type of qualities from him.
Yeah, well, he spends a lot of time, I mean, he asks a lot of questions, spends a lot of extra time working at it. He's always in the office, studying the game, asking questions, you know what I mean? And, which is really good, especially a newer player, and I think a lot of the young guys can learn from that, because we do have a young team that, a lot of times guys are nervous to ask questions, and John's not. He's going to ask questions to make sure he's certain of the answer, which is the right thing to do. So it is a great example for the younger kids.
Robbie asked you about Tucker, but what's your overall assessment of the kicking game from what you've seen so far?
It's okay. We haven't put him through a lot. So, but we got guys working, guys competing. And I expect us to be a lot better than we were wrapping up spring. That's for sure.
A lot of new faces at defensive line. What are your impressions so far?
Good. I like, I see we're playing better. To me it's looking at not as much the new faces that are learning, it's the older faces that are now in new roles. And you see an improvement of Jeffrey Simmons and Braxton Hoyette and Corey Thomas and even a Gary Green and a Marquis Spencer. You're starting to see Fletcher Adams. You're really starting to see those guys grow up into becoming solid SEC players. I think that's what I noticed. The younger guys and newer faces, they're coming along learning and trying to keep up that pace with the other guys.
You said you haven't put the kickers through much yet. At what point in the preseason will that intensity kind of pick up?
Well, they practice really hard, but we haven't done much competitive with them. So we'll slowly do that as we move forward.
Britt was standing here the other day talking about with Keaton and things, his skills and everything are there. He needs to build his confidence, be able to talk to the older guys and that sort of stuff. How do you coach that up out of the young guy to be bold and be able to,
Well, he's just got to do it, and he's force-fed to have to do it. And, the nice thing is for him in his long-term development is he has to. He doesn't have a growing curve. He's the number 2, and I think a lot of times you forget that, he's a true freshman, because of the responsibility he has and his performance and carrying and what our expectations of him are. So, that you forget that he's a true freshman, but I think a lot of the guys, not just us, but the guys on the team forget he's a true freshman. And so they expect him to be a leader. They expect him to be a vocal guy and in command of the offense.
Any comment on Kyle Abdul's situation from yesterday, and does he face any other sort of punishment from you guys for that?
No, I think he's got some legal issues he's going to have to deal with and pay a fine, I think.
Is that kind of the worry with these extra off days in the fall? Does that kind of worry at all that these guys have?
We'll see. That's our first one, right? Yeah. So we'll see around the country. You know what I mean? It's the first one where you can't have any contact with them. Never mind doing, developing players, not just physically an off day, but just being able to develop young people mature-wise, which we're supposed to be educators. But we'll see. That's what the NSA wanted to do. So we'll see how that continues to pan out.